Welcome to my basketball tutorial. It will be covering skills from the basics and fundamentals to more advanced things. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is dribbling. Dribbling is a very important part of the game, and it's required everywhere. So, first, if you're new to dribbling, all you have to do is basically pound the ball with your right arm. You have to pound it as hard as possible, and you have to look up. If you look up, it basically improves your control with the ball. And your left hand is equally important. So if you're a right-hander, you're going to want to practice with your right and left, same vice versa. So with your left hand, you're also going to want to pound the ball as hard as possible and keep your eyes up. So once you've got the hang of dribbling the ball high up and pounding it, you try to make some variations. You try to go down low like this, with your right hand pounding it as hard as possible, or you try to go down low with your left. And then there are a bunch of other exercises you can do, such as, for example, to just improve ball control in general, do this, around the waist, around the head, and then do that as fast as possible while keeping your head up. So there are a lot of other exercises you could try to do in order to improve your ball control. You could bounce the ball up and down on your right side. Try to do this as fast as possible with as much control as possible, keeping your head up. And then you could try with your left. Then you could try other drills such as bringing the ball through your legs with one hand, controlling it, keeping your head up, and using both hands as much as possible. And then you could also do in and out with right and left hand. And then, okay, so dribbling is important for those who want to control the ball in games and be the main person to have the ball and dribble and make plays. So you're going to have to repeat all these exercises at least 40 times. And you have to be repetitive, and you have to do it until you're perfect in order to achieve the best goal. So there are other things you could do to improve reflexes and ball control in general, such as this, where you're basically alternating hands and catching the ball between your legs. And then you could also do the same thing, but you're just having both hands moving at the same time, so you're moving up and down like this. So, once you've gotten the hang of all the exercises I showed you before, you'd want to try and complicate it by using 2 basketballs instead of 1. So you could do things like pounding both balls inside, as low as possible, as fast as possible, as hard as possible, while keeping your head up. Then you would move it up a bit, and do the same thing, as hard as possible. Then you'd move it high up and pound it as hard as possible. And you keep doing this until you perfect it. Then you could also do it alternate, so you're alternating bouncing balls. Low down, hard with your eyes up. Then you move up again. Until you reach the top where you're pounding as hard as possible and you're keeping good posture while moving up. Then you can repeat all the other drills I did, such as bouncing one ball on the side, bouncing one ball in the front. Then you switch it up and do it the other way around. And you always look up. So once you've gotten hold of the fundamentals using both 1 and 2 basketballs, you're going to want to try and bring in some moves. So one of the first and simplest moves you actually learn is a crossover. And it's not the one where you actually go all the way out and fake the person, but it's a simple one which is used very commonly in games. So it's a very basic skill, and all you do is you basically dribble the ball with your right hand, and you put your right leg forward, and then you just do a fast movement across like this, down, bringing the ball very low, crossing it over to your left hand and moving forward with your left. So when you do this, you cross it over really low with your right hand, you bring it to your left hand, and you move your right leg forward and make a break for it. So it's basically, you just do it really fast and then you move forward. And a good exercise for this would just be doing this and looking up, because it really helps your ball control in this move. And then you do the same thing with the right hand. You bring it really low and then you move forward with the left. Once you start getting the hang of it, you're going to want to try and do it faster, and then just moving forward. And it's very useful for catching defenders off guard. If they're not really defending properly and you see that they're kind of slow and their stance isn't good, all you would do is just go real fast and then move up. So one of the most common moves is a crossover, where basically what you do is just bring the ball through your legs and move forward. So the crossover is very simple. All you do is if you're dribbling the ball in your right hand, you're going to want to put your left leg forward and then just swing the ball across through the legs. It's a very simple move that is used commonly everywhere. And it's one of the basic moves that you learn. And that's one of the first moves you learn as well. Once you've got the hang of that, you're going to want to try with your left hand as well, because that's equally important. So with your left hand, you do the same thing, it's just opposite. You're going to bounce the ball with your left hand, and you're going to get the ball through the legs, moving your right leg forward. Once you start getting the hang of it with both hands, you're going to want to try instead of doing it as fast as possible, just like making a break for it. You're going to want to move as fast as possible with the ball and move forward as well, because that's when the crossover is actually used. Another move you're going to want to try to learn is the behind the back. This is a very useful move, as if defenders try to reach for the ball, you're going to swing it around your back and just cut them. And so basically what you do is you just bring the ball around your back with whatever hand you're dribbling with, and then receive it with the other hand and start moving forward. So it's a very simple move too, and it requires practice as well as much as the crossover does. And so just basically bring the ball behind your back and move forward. And you do the same thing with the left hand. You bring the ball behind your back and move forward. You usually move forward with the right foot when you're dribbling with the right hand, and with the left foot when you're dribbling with the left hand. Because you want to always protect the ball with your body. So the next move is a bit more complicated than the last three, but however, with practice it will come easy. It's called the behind the back crossover. This is when you just take the ball and cross it over. Instead of crossing it over in front of you, you cross it over behind you. So it does require a good level of ball control, but it's achievable. So what you do is you basically bring with your right hand, you bring the ball behind your back, and then you just cross it over really fast to your left hand. And then this works well when the defender's also off guard, and just for a quick movement. If you have a quick movement like this and move forward, you get it. And so it's very simple. All you do is bring the ball behind your back, cross it over, and then just move forward with your right foot and your left hand. So you want to try the same thing with your left hand, cross it over behind your back, and move forward with the left foot. After you get this move, you can try a lot of variations with the move, such as crossing it over twice and crossing it over in the front, which is also a very useful move. I'm going to show you guys for today is the spin. The spin is a very useful move. When defenders try and reach for the ball, you can take advantage of that by spinning and moving forward. So when you spin, you're going to want to try and do it as fast as possible. You're going to have to put one leg forward. So if you're dribbling with your right hand, you're going to put your left leg forward. And then you spin with the ball. You have to make sure you don't do this, because this is a carry. You have to be sure to just, with the motion, manage the ball and control it, and make sure so you're going to spin like this, and then start dribbling with your left hand, because you'll be on the left side. So for the left side, you're going to want to put your right leg forward, and then you're going to spin with the left. So you mainly use this when defenders try to reach for the ball. You spin in, and you usually just take a shot and stop and score the layup or whatever there is. So when you're dribbling in a game, you're going to want to try your best to keep the ball, your body in between the ball and your man. When you do this, the defender has a much harder time actually reaching the ball. As opposed to this, if you're dribbling like this, the defender will have an easy time to take the ball. So what you're going to want to do is when you're not too confident about dribbling, you protect the ball with your body. When you start getting a bit more confident, you can try doing some moves on the defender and getting past it. Although, when you're not trying any moves, you're always going to want to have the ball behind your body so that you can protect it from the defender. So the next step to becoming a very well-rounded basketball player is shooting. Shooting is very important. A lot of basic shooters, you see people shooting like this or like this, those are wrong shooting forms. In order to have a good shooting form, you need to hold the ball with the hand that you usually play with and shoot with. So that's going to be my right. So you hold the ball here, and you keep your elbow out and you keep your knees bent. Then your left hand comes on the side of the ball for support, and you usually just pound the ball once and you bring it up over your head and release. And once you release, you put backspin on the ball so that it deadens the ball and the chance of it actually going into the hoop increases. So you spin the ball, and after you've shot, your hand should be left like this. And you try and maintain that position for as long as possible so that the spin remains and the deadening of the ball gives you a better chance of scoring the point. So when you're shooting, you're going to want to try and jump as high as possible, as well as give as much arc to the ball as possible, because the more arc you give it, the better chance it has of going into the hoop. You're also going to want to try and spin and deaden the ball as much as possible in your shot, which will give you a lot more chance of scoring the point. So if you shoot like this and give it no height, no deadening, and no arc, and you don't jump, you're not going to score anything. If you try to give it as much height as possible, if you jump as high as possible, and you deaden the ball as much as possible, you're always going to end up with a point. Okay, so some games that you can play with your friends in order to improve your shooting is around the world. It's basically a game where you shoot around the key and do it as many times as possible, so you can basically improve your shooting inside the key and around it. And then once you start getting more comfortable, you're going to want to try and move out a bit more until you're comfortable at the three-point line. So from here, you want to try and shoot it off the backboard, and as you can see, like the corner of the square, you want to try and hit it there, the top corner. So you just shoot it like that, and then most of the time you'd score if you hit it in the right place. Then you keep going, you keep shooting. From there, I use the backboard too. Then you keep shooting until you miss, and then once you miss, it's your friend's turn. And from different areas, you can try different shots, and you may feel comfortable with one shot as opposed to the other. Yeah, you just keep shooting until you miss, and you try and repeat this game as much as possible, and your shooting is guaranteed to improve. The next type of shot in basketball is a free throw. This usually happens when you're attacking the hoop inside the key, and you take a shot and you get fouled. So if you're taking a shot and your arm gets hit, you're going to get 2 free throws. But if you score the points, you get both the points plus 1 free throw shot. And also, if you're on the 3-point line and you're taking a shot, if you score the point, you get all 3 points plus a free throw. But if you miss the shot and you get fouled, then you'll just get 3 free throws. So when you're taking a free throw, you're going to want to have your own thing, where you basically do something or repeat a bounce or something that you remember, and you do before every free throw. This helps your consistency in shots. So for example, for me, I pound the ball really hard twice, take it in my hands, bend my knees, come up, and take the shot. It's required for everyone to bend their knees because on free throws you're not allowed to jump. Otherwise it's considered a foul. So you basically just bend your knees and then you pick yourself up and shoot the ball without jumping. So I pound the ball twice, I do bend my knees, take the shot, and score. Taking a shot and you receive the ball from a player and you want to take a direct shot, not dribble, don't do anything. What you're going to want to do is when you receive the ball, you put your left leg forward, you get in rhythm, and then you move your right leg forward and then take the jumper. If you don't do this, you're going to have a hard time to score because it's going to take you longer to get in proper position and get in rhythm. So another important skill that's required in basketball are layups. Players who usually take the most layups are the players who are closest to the rim, because layups are just when you shoot the ball off and you're literally right next to the rim. So when you take a proper layup, you're going to have a run-up from an angle of the hoop. You're going to pound the ball, you're going to take 2 steps and then just lay it up. When you lay it up, you want to use the right hand from the right side to use your body to protect the ball as much as possible. So when you go up, you protect the ball with your body so no defender can block easily. And also when you're taking the layup, you pound the ball once, you take 1 step forward to your right, 1 step to the left, then you jump and you take the layup. So layups from the left side are also equally important. It's basically the same thing, but you're going to be dribbling down the lane with your left hand instead. And instead you pound the ball to the left. You're going to take 1 step with your left leg, 1 step with your right, and put it up with your left. make sure you use your left hand even if you're weak. Because if you're going to use your right hand on the side, the chances of you getting blocked are a lot more. Because when you shoot with your right on the left hand side, what you're doing is exposing the ball and making things get blocked. If you use it with your left hand, your body's in your way, it's hard for the defender to actually block the shot. So make sure you use your left on your left side and the right on the right side. Okay, so then you're not always going to get a simple layup. Sometimes you're going to have to change it up a bit. And if there's a defender blocking you here, you're going to want to try and go under the hoop and try to score the close. This is also an equally important skill because you're not always going to get a straightforward layup when you stroke from here. But sometimes you're going to have to actually go around the hoop and just score a reverse layup. So the way to score a reverse layup is very simple. It's like a layup. Once you got the hang of a good layup, you do the same thing, which you can see under the hoop. You take one step with your right foot, one step with your left, and then you move up backwards instead of going forward. So it's very similar to the layup. It's just going further behind the hoop, and then going, and then just putting it up backwards. So you can do the same, you can do a reverse layup on the left side too, and it's the same as the right hand, same as the left hand layup. You're going to want to dribble it down with your left hand. You're going to want to take a step with your left and right, and just put it up with your left hand. So it's very similar to the right hand. I would advise you get the right hand first. Practice the right hand, use it a lot, and again you're using your body to protect the ball on that side. So that's why you use your right hand on the right side and your left hand on the left side. So another type of layup which is very useful and important is the hook. Hooks are usually taken from out here in the paint, but I'm going to be showing you the one which is right under the hoop. So it's very useful when the player is bigger than you, marking you, because you can get the ball arced over them and score the point. So when you do the hook, you want to try and hit out the backboard like you do for layups or reverse layups. So what you do is you basically, instead of coming at an angle towards the hoop, you run straight down the lane, and then you put your right leg forward first, followed by the left, and then hook it up like that. You give your arm the motion of a windmill, and you bring it around like this, and make sure that your body is protecting the ball. So you just hook it up like that, and off the backboard, the balls go in. Okay, so like the hook on the right side, you can also do this on the left side. The left side is very similar. The only thing that's different is the footing. So the footing for the left side is you still run down the lane. Although for this, you put your left and forward first and your right, and you So you're going to want to try and use this as much as possible when there are bigger defenders on you, and it will always come in handy if you use the backboard wisely. And like all the layups, they all have the same footwork for the same side. It's just a different way of putting the ball into the hoop. So the next important thing in basketball is passing. Passing is a very important part of the sport. You're going to want to try and make as many passes as possible when you're playing. You usually pass when you're on a fast break, when you're at the three-point line, when it's a one-on-two game, and passing is generally very important. So there are three types of passes. One is the bounce pass, where basically what you do is put your left leg forward and then pass it, put your arm, extend your elbows like this, and basically just pass it forward with a bounce. The next type of pass is a chest pass, where basically you do the same thing. You put your left leg forward and you pass it like this. You're going to want to try and do it as hard as possible, and instead of bouncing, you just pass it directly to the person. The last type of pass, which is a rather basic pass, is an over-the-head. Over-the-head passes are usually used when the player who has the ball is taller than the player who's defending him, and you just keep the ball up, and you try and pass it over to one of your players on the other team. So those are the three basic passes that are used in daily games and are very effective when you use them properly. So a more complicated pass, but yet still very effective pass, is when you do a behind the back pass. And that's basically when you do the behind the back move, but instead of just bringing it to your left hand, you're going to want to try and pass it to the person there by just bouncing it really hard and passing it as fast as possible to your teammate. Another rather complex pass is a crossover pass. It's used when you want to make the defender think you're doing a crossover when actually you're passing the ball. So it's like a crossover, except instead of crossing it over to your left hand, you're going to try and cross it over to your teammate who's on the other side of the lane waiting for you. So defending is a very important part of basketball. When you're defending, you're going to want to try and spread your legs out as much as possible and bend your knees, kind of like you're sitting on a horse. And with your hands, you're going to want to have one hand up like this so that you're protecting and defending whatever may go up. So if he tries to shoot or pass, this hand is defending that and it's going to block it. And you're going to have one hand down low here, defending any low pass or any low dribbles. And when the person with the ball moves with the ball, you're going to want to slide with the ball as much as possible, shifting your hands according to whatever the person is doing. So when the player is dribbling and moving to any side, you're going to want to move to the player and keep your body in between him and the move, which is always the best type of defending. And then when you're good defending, you try and steal the ball. If the person is a bad dribbler, you can steal the ball. If he's not so much, you would keep your distance, but not let him do anything too crazy. Okay, so in offense, something that's very important is the pick and roll. It's run all the time, it's a very basic move, and people from all ages use it all over the world, and it's most of the time very successful. So when running the pick and roll, him and I are on the same team, while these two are marking us. So he's going to be on him and she's going to be on me. What I try to do is try to make my man free. So what I do is come here and set a pick on the defender. He goes around and I spin him and ask for the ball and then score the layup. Okay, so now how do you defend a screen? When you're defending a screen, what happens is your teammate who's defending with you usually tells you which way the screen is coming from.
Screen right.
He yells out screen right, and if I cannot get past the screen, I yell switch. So we switch back, and then I stay on this person, and we defend until they lose possession. Okay, so another very important part of basketball is rebounding. Rebounding occurs on the offensive boards and on the defensive boards. So you can get rebounds for your team anytime, anywhere. You just need to make sure you follow the right steps in order to getting a rebound. Okay, so if that's my partner and she's about to shoot, what I'm going to want to do is try and move myself in front of the man who is here. So I move myself in front of him and I stick my butt out, and then I just push him back out, which is called boxing out. So I do this, and then I take the rebound, which is a lot simpler because he's behind me. Okay, so something that is also very common in basketball is a fast break. A fast break occurs when somebody on the same team gets a defensive rebound, comes down, and then two of his teammates see that this is happening. And then they start sprinting down the court. And once the rebounder notices this, he throws the ball up for them to score an easy bucket. So all three of us are on the same team. And the shot goes up and I get the rebound. They both start sprinting and I tap it out. And they score the easy layup. Okay, so that concludes my basketball tutorial video. Thank you for watching.
And your voice was all I heard. Did I get what I deserve?